We're going to be taking you live right now to One America's chief White House correspondent, Daniel Baldwin, who's live at the Trump White House right now. Daniel, great to see you today. So I want to ask you about some of Trump's executive orders. What do we see from him? Can you break this down for us?
Nathaniel, always good to chat with you. Good morning, good afternoon. Shock and awe was what was billed to be Donald Trump's first day as the 47th president, and he and his team certainly delivered. Over 200 executive actions, 42 executive orders, memoranda, proclamations, and 115 personnel actions as well. And to top it all off, Nathaniel, we actually got a 1-hour-long closed press Q&A as President Trump signed executive orders, actions, all those things into law from the Oval Office late last night. When you compare that to what Joe Biden did in 2021, there was maybe 3 minutes of back and forth. There was one exchange, which his team promptly tried to shut down. So once again, the most transparent president in modern U.S. history is back at the White House, and we're certainly going to see that continue today, as the president is expected to meet with Senate Majority Leader John Thune, House Majority Leader Mike Johnson this afternoon before addressing the nation with a major infrastructure plan. That's today, Nathaniel. But the rest of the time, what happened yesterday, he signed all those things into law, positively affecting Americans across the country. However, none may be bigger than pardoning 1,500 or so January 6ers who were charged with crimes, 14 commutations as well. Why don't we take a listen to the president as he was doing this last night?
So this is a big one. Anything you want to explain about this? We hope they get them. We hope they come out tonight, frankly. They're expecting it. Approximately 1,500 people, six commutations.
In addition, Nathaniel, things that could have an immediate impact are everything that he did relating to the southern border, perhaps none bigger than declaring a national emergency. What that specifically does, it brings the Secretary of Defense into the equation, and it gives him the power to order certain units or members of the Ready Reserve or the National Guard to assist DHS with obtaining complete operational control of the U.S. southern border. That's a massive deal and will significantly help Border Patrol, who have, of course, you've seen the reports over the last 4 years, are undermanned and overwhelmed at the southern border. It will also allow the SecDef and DHS to continue to construct additional physical barriers at the wall to make sure that illegal entry is not happening. And the Transportation Secretary and the FCC can consider permitting the Department of Homeland Security to counter unmanned aerial systems within 5 miles of the southern border. I would expect that to happen once we get confirmation hearings underway and done in those specific roles. Donald Trump also signed a directive to end birthright citizenship. He designated the cartels as foreign terror organizations and specially designated global terrorists. And of course, right after the inaugural address, the CBP One app, which allowed migrants to enter through ports of entry, was terminated officially. As you know, around 8 million illegal aliens crossed over the southern border under the Biden-Harris watch. President Trump is making sure that ended on day one.
Daniel, obviously the border as well as the January 6 hostages obviously played a huge role in the executive actions as well as Trump's campaign. But he also mentioned a slew of other things as well. Can you walk us through some of the highlights from yesterday?
Of course, one of the first things he signed into law was a restoration of freedom of speech, Nathaniel, specifically preventing the federal government from pressuring any outside body to engage in censorship tactics. He also ordered his attorney general, if Pam Bondi does get confirmed, it will be her, to take a look at and review any actions from the last 4 years to see if they violated this specific executive order, which he signed last night, and to send in recommendations how to handle it. He also signed an executive order ending the weaponization of government. He also asked Pam Bondi, should she get confirmed, to do the same thing in regards to weaponization of government, specifically looking at the DOJ, the SEC, and the FTC for any actions that may have violated that executive order from the last 4 years, and to recommend as well. He also ordered the Director of National Intelligence, should Tulsi Gabbard get confirmed, it would be her, to investigate, to take a close review of actions from the Intelligence Committee over the last 4 years, similarly to what Pam Bondi would be doing. In addition to that, he also issued an executive order declaring a national energy emergency. He ordered a hiring freeze of federal civilian employees. He withdrew the United States from the World Health Organization. He revoked the security clearance of the 51 intelligence officers who declared that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, along with John Bolton. He restored the death penalty. He announced an order that would sort of pick up where the first Trump administration left off in regards to routing more water from the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta to other parts of the state for use of people there who desperately need reliable water supply. That's important given what's happening out in Los Angeles with wildfires. In addition, he made it the official policy of the United States to recognize 2 genders. He ended DEI policies at the federal government, and of course, began the process of renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. That doesn't cover everything, Nathaniel. That covers a portion of it. That tells you how much the Trump White House did what the Trump campaign was promising.
I mean, that's certainly a lot of actions to undo the last 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration. But one thing that we didn't see yesterday was his promise of reinstituting tariffs. When do you think we can expect him to re-implement those?
Sure, that's a good note, Nathaniel, and he was actually asked about this, and during the transition period, he had pledged to slap a 25% tariff, not only on Mexico, but also Canada. As he was signing executive actions, he was asked about this. Why don't we take a listen to what the president said?
We're thinking in terms of 25% on Mexico and Canada because they're allowing vast numbers of people. Canada's a very bad abuser also. Vast numbers of people to come in and fentanyl to come in.
When do you think you would enact those?
I think February 1st.
Are you planning on giving notice of that?
I think we'll do it February 1st.
He actually wrote out a memorandum and signed it last night, Nathaniel, laying out his America First trade policy. And part of that ordered the Secretary of Treasury to look at the feasibility and how it would work to create an external revenue system, sort of similar to the IRS, except it would be the ERS, per se. And that goes back to his inaugural address, where he emphasized that for too long, the American government, the federal government, has been taxing its own citizens to enrich foreign countries, and we need to be taxing foreign countries to enrich American citizens. Trump likely views tariffs as a form of external revenue that is not being capitalized right now, in addition, as a way to reduce other countries' trade surpluses against us. Obviously, he's threatened the 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico. He said he would implement it around February 1st. That's what he was thinking right now. That threat has caused actions from both Canada and Mexico, such as bolstering their immigration systems. Mexico has busted up fentanyl and migrant caravans coming to the United States ever since those announcements. But if that does hit, and both of those countries get hit with a 25% tariff, it would significantly rock their own respective economies very, very materially, considering that the top exporter for both of those countries is the United States. It isn't close. Trump has leverage, and he knows that these tariffs would materially hurt their economy, and he can likely bend them to his will and get them to do what he wants. And it certainly appears as though that's what he's going to be doing.
All right, One America's chief White House correspondent, Daniel Baldwin, live from D.C., from Donald Trump's White House. Thank you for that report. As always, great to talk with you.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.